What's up you data friends, it's Yanis here and welcome to my channel. Now please note that this video is actually video part 3 of the series on how to predict when this pandemic is going to finish by country or state and what will the numbers look like in the future. In the first video, we have explained how to use this dashboard and more specifically how to select a country or a state and then how to investigate the numbers and how to investigate the predictions. We have also explained from where to get the raw data in order to do this yourself and how to clean the data using Python and prepare the data for modeling. In the second video, we have explained how to use Python again to model the data, and we went through all this code in order to explain the methodology and all the steps we followed until we get those predictions. So make sure you watch those two videos first before you watch this video. And then in this video, which is going to be the final video of this series, I am going to show you how to build this dashboard from scratch using the Python output, which is basically our estimations. Right, and before we start, let me just say that if you're new to my channel and you're passionate about data science, then please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications for my future videos. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to open a new blank Power BI file and then load the raw data. And the raw data is going to be the two files we have created in the previous video in Python. Now, if you want to start this tutorial from here, then I'm going to have these two files in my GitHub repository, so you can go on and download them from there. Right, going back to Power BI, we want to go into Home, Get Data, click on Excel, and then here is where you need to go in the path that you have exported or downloaded the two files. So I'm going to go into here and then make sure you select all files and then select the first file, which is going to be this one. Then I click Open. Then I can inspect my file and see if all the data is coming through. Then I click Load. And then we have the first table over here. Now we want to repeat the same process for the second file. So we go into Home again, Get Data, Excel, we click on All Files, we select the file, which is going to be this one, the estimation summary by country. I click on Open, I inspect the data to see that everything is pulling through, I click on Load, and now we should have the second table up here. There we go, so we have one, we have two. Right, so now we want to go back in the front end and I want to increase the size of my page. So I go into Format, I go into Page Size, and I change this to Custom, and then I change this into 1500, and then this one I'm going to start with 2000, and then let's see if we need more space. Now I want to go into View and I want to change the page view to be fit to width so I can use the whole space. The next thing we want to do now is to add the title and a logo. To add the title now, we want to go into Insert and click on Text Box. Then we want to resize this to be at the top and a bit smaller. And for the title, I'm just going to copy and paste the title from my previous report. Then I want to select this and center it in the middle. Right, so now I want to add a logo and a picture, so I can go into Insert and then I click on Image, and I want to add these two images over here. Actually, I have to do it one by one. So I select the first one, I make it smaller, I put it at the top, then I select the second one, I make it smaller, and then I put it at the top, like this. Right, so now I want to add one line just to show the separation from the title, and then I want to start building my report. To add this line now, we go into Insert, Shapes, and we add a line. Then I want to go into Line. I want to change the, the rotation to 90 degrees. So it's a horizontal line. I want to make it smaller. I want to put it at the top. And I also want to change the color to, okay, we don't have my colors here. So I can go into View and then I can change the palette. And I usually use the classic one. So I'm just going to click on the classic one. And then I'm going to select the color it is right now. Right, the next step now is to add our slicers. So we can go over here in the visualizations and click on the slicer. We want to make this smaller and we want to put it at the top. And the first slicer we want to use is the country or state. Because remember, people should be able to select their country or their state and see the actuals and the predictions. So we go into our fields. We want to search for state, let's say. state, and we want to select the combined province and state. And the reason we need the combine, if you remember from the previous video, this combine field has both the data for our actuals and our estimations. The next thing now is to click in this drop down over here and change our list to be a drop down so we can actually search. To add the search now, we want to click in these three dots over here and add the search. So now we can go in our slicer and actually search for New York, let's say, select New York, and then see all the data, the actuals and the estimations for New York. Now we want to format our slicer to look nicer, so we go into format. The first thing is that I want to remove the header and I want to add a title, and my title is going to be country/state. And the reason we have this is because if you remember in the Python code, we have actually combined the country and state in this one field alone. Then I want to change the font to be this font, maybe black font, put it in the middle, make it bigger so it's easier to read. Then I want to change the items background to be this light green, and I also want to add a border, and the border is going to be the same light green. The next step now is to resize the slicer so we can fit all the visuals at the top. So we can go into general and you can change this with me. I'm going to set the width to 330 and I'm going to change the height to 85. Next, I want to go into the border again and I want to add a radius of maybe 10% so we can see the curves over there. And also I want to go into items and change the font to be black. Next, I want to copy and paste this slicer and use the country slicer alone just in case someone wants to select the US and have all the states combined. So I go into the search, I type in combine just to find the combined country, and then I have to remove this one first, drag this one in, and now I want to change the title, and the title of this one is going to be the country. So I paste it over here and there we go. The next visual I want to add over here is going to be a card that is going to have the last refresh date. So I click on the card over here, I resize it to be here at the top. So over here, then into this card I want to drag the date. So I search for date and then I drag in date from the first table over here, and then I change this from earliest to be the latest date. And the latest date is going to be today or yesterday, depending when was the last time we refreshed the data. Now I want to click on this slicer and go into home, click on format painter and then touch this slicer so I use the same formats. Next, I want to click on the card. I want to go into the data label and I actually want to change the color to be this color over here. I want to remove this latest date over here, which is the category, and then I want to add a title which is going to be the last refresh. So I go here, I click on paste, last refresh, and we have the date. Maybe we can make the data label a bit smaller so it's nicer. There we go. The next visual we want to create now is the count of distinct days. So I can copy and paste it next to each other, and then I change this field to be the count distinct, and then I want to go and change the title to be the number of distinct dates. So now we can see how many days we have included in this dashboard. And the last visual I want to have over here is going to be a text box with some nodes, and it's only going to be the title for now. So I go into insert, I click on text box, then I want to put this text box over here. I want to make it smaller, make it fit. Then in the text box, I'm going to copy and paste what I have in the other dashboard, and I want to center this in the middle. I also want to go into the border and add the same color border and the same radius we have with everything else. Next, we want to create our first section, which is going to be the main summary. So again, we go into insert, we add a text box, then we move the text box here at the top. We make it a bit smaller. Then in the text box, I want to copy and paste the title I have over there, which is the main summary. I want to center this in the middle. I also want to make this a bit smaller and then push it a bit down. I want to click on this visual now, click on format painter and then touch the visual below. So you can see we have the same border across and the same color. and then make it a bit larger so we don't have the scrolling bar at the right side. There we go. Next, I want to add a background on my first section. So I click on it, I go into background, I enable it, and then I add the color of light blue, let's say. Now I want to copy and paste this below. So I'm going to start with my actual numbers. So I'll make this a lot smaller, and then I'll give it a name of actual numbers, where I'm going to have my actual numbers now here down below. And then I also want to remove the background for this one. I want to keep it white. Right, so the first visual we're going to have is the total confirmed cases. And to do this, I'm going to use a card. So I'm just going to copy this card, paste it down here, and then change the field. So I put it over here, and now I want to change the values now, the fields, to be the confirmed cases. So I search for confirm, and we want to use the confirm daily because the confirm is just cumulative, and we can see that we have about 3 million cases. But I want to see the whole number, so I can go into data labels, and I want to say none over here so we can see the whole number. Also, I want to click on confirm daily and add the comma. There we go. Next, I want to change the title now to be the confirmed cases. So I'm going to quickly copy and paste the title. So I'll go over here, I'll go into the title, and then I paste the title. Next, I want to add a background on the title. So I go back to the title, and then I add a background of this light blue, let's say. There we go. Next, we want to increase the size of this number a little bit. So we go into the data label, and we want to increase this to maybe, let's say 30. Right, so now I want to repeat the same process, but now I want to have the deaths and the recoveries. So I can copy this, paste it below over here, let's say. I want to make it much smaller though. And then I want to copy this and paste it again, which is going to be the recoveries next to each other. So make this a bit bigger. There we go. Next, I want to change the fields and the titles from these two. So I'll go into the first one. I change the title to be the confirmed deaths or the total deaths. And I also want to change the field to be from confirmed daily to be the deaths daily. So I replace it with the deaths daily. I also want to change the data label color to be a strong red. So I'm going to select this red over here. Now I need to repeat the same process for recoveries. So I come into recoveries, I change the color to a strong green, let's say this one, or maybe it's too much. Let's stay with this one. I want to change the title to be the total recoveries, and I also want to change the field to be the recoveries. So I search for it, recover daily, I replace it. I also want to add the comma, so I click on the field, I add the comma over here, and it's ready to go. The next step now is to create two new measures, which is going to be the case fatality rate and the recovery rate. So we can put them down here. So to create new measures, we click on our table. We actually need to remove this. We right click on our table, we click on new measure, and then I'm going to copy and paste it quickly. I say mortality rate over here, but it's actually case fatality rate. And to calculate this, we need to sum all the deaths daily divided by the confirmed daily. So it's going to be this number divided by this number, and I click enter, and now we have the first measure. The second measure is going to be the recovery rate, which is again is going to be this number divided by this number. So I'm going to quickly copy it from here, then come over here, right click, click on a new measure, and the second measure is going to be the recovery rate. So I'll paste it over here, and you can see is the recovery rate, which is the sum of recovers daily divided by the sum of confirmed daily. So if I click enter now, we have two new measures, which we are going to use down here. So very quickly, I'm going to copy these two and then paste them. Move them down here, and then on the first one I'm going to use the case fatality rate. So I'm going to drag mortality rate over here, and in the title I'm just going to say case fatality rate, which is the CFR, and then you can see it's a percentage, so I have to click on it, click on the percentage and add 2 decimal places. I think it's fine. And then for the recovery rate, I'm going to come on the title, say recovery rate, and I also want to go in the fields and replace the recovery daily with the recovery rate. Then I want to click on recovery rate and add the percentage with 2 decimal places, so everything is okay. Additionally, I do want to make them slightly smaller, the size of the data label. So I'm going to put this down to 25 on all of them. 5, 25, 25. Moving on, the next thing we want to add is our map. So I click on the map over here and then I resize it to take this space over here. Right, so in the location, I want to add the province and state. So I search for it and I add not the combined one this time because I only want the actuals. So I want to drag this one into location. Next, I want to add the average lat and long. So I search for lat. There we go. I want to add it over here and I want to use the average correct, and then long, search for it, I add it over here, I use the average correct, and then the size is going to be the confirmed daily. So I search for it and then I drag it over here so we can see the size. Additionally, I want to add my title. So I go in the title and then I paste the title, which is going to be the COVID-19 confirmed cases on the map. I also want to add a font of black, then put it in the middle and then make it larger so we can actually see it. We also want to add a background color of this light blue over here. And we also want to touch here, let's say, click on Format Painter and then touch over here. So we have the same border and the same radius. Right, now I want to change the bubble sizes. So I go into bubbles and then I change this to -16. Next, I want to change the map style and I'm going to change it into light. The next thing I want to do is to change the colors. So I'm going to set the default color to this color over here. And then I'm also going to select specific countries or regions, the ones that actually have a lot of cases, and change their colors so they are more visible on the map. So you can see it's ordered by the ones with the highest number of cases. So New York, for example, I can add a blue. Spain, I can add a strong yellow, let's say. For Italy, I can add a strong blue. For France, a strong, I don't know, like pink. Germany, maybe this color, so you can see it's more easier to see them. And then United Kingdom, I want to select a color like, let's say, this one over here. Right, the next step now is to copy and paste all these visuals on the left that have the actual numbers. So I copy them, I paste them, and then I move them over here. And now, instead of having the actuals, we want to have our predictions. But first, we want to make them a bit smaller so they can fit. Right, after we resize the visuals, the first thing we want to do is to change this title to be the actual plus the estimations, which is going to be the end of, where we are estimating the confirmed cases to go down to 0. The next thing we want to do now is to create 3 new measures. And those new measures is going to be the estimated total confirmed cases, which is going to be this number plus the estimations, the estimated total deaths, which is going to be this number plus the estimations, and the same thing with the recoveries. Right, to create a new measure now, we need to right click in our table, click on new measure, and the first measure, I'm going to copy and paste it, is going to be the totals / actual, which is this one, plus the estimated confirmed cases. And the estimated confirmed cases, if you remember from our Python code, is this field over here, which is the combined estimated confirmed cases until you reach the peak for countries that haven't reached their peak. And then from the peak all the way to the end, and we are combining these two together, and then we are summing it with this number over here. So we click enter, and then we're going to repeat the same process for total deaths and total recoveries. So we right click over here, new measure, and then I'm just going to copy and paste the measure from the other report. So this measure is the totals actual plus estimated deaths. So it's going to be this number plus the estimations, and the estimations is the estimated deaths daily from the estimated peak to the estimated end. So we click enter. The next measure now is going to be the estimated total recoveries. So we click on new measure, and then I'm just going to copy it and paste it over here, and this calculation is actually the recovers daily, which is this number over here, plus our estimations, which is the estimated recoveries daily from estimated peak to estimated end, and then we click enter. Right, the next step now is to put these three new measures we have just created into these three new visuals. So I'm going to start with this one. First, I'm going to change the title because I have copied it already. So this is the estimated total confirmed cases, and then in the fields I'm just going to drag the estimated confirmed cases. And we have an error. We click on see details is because some cannot work on string. It means that when Power BI read the data in, it used string instead of numeric for some of the columns we have some. So if we click on the measure quickly, we know that this one works fine because we have used it over here. So it must be this field over here. And to change this, we need to go in the backend. We need to right click on the table, click on edit query, then go and find that field, which is going to be this one over here. Click on it, go into transform and change the data type from text to be a decimal number. Click on replace current, and then we click on home, close and apply. And then if we go back in the front end, it should work. There we go. We can see that now the number seems correct. Again, we need to click on the measure and add the comma, so we have the same format across both. So we can see that this is where the numbers are right now, and this is how many total confirmed cases we are estimating based on the model we have created in Python. Now we need to repeat the same process for the deaths and the recoveries. So I click over here, then I drag the total estimated deaths. I get the error, probably it's the same error, so we need to check one of the fields. Let me check the fields we have used. It's going to be the estimated deaths daily from estimated peak to estimated end. So I go in the back end again, I click on edit query, then I try to find that field. I think it's this one over here. I'm also going to change these ones over here too. So I click on transform. I change the text to be a decimal number, replace current. Then I go back at the front end, click on close and apply. I click on close, I go back, there we go. The estimated total deaths is working fine. So if I click on it again, I add the comma, and then I click on this field over here so it can go away. Right, you can see not too many, but that's good. And then we have the estimated recoveries, which is going to be the same thing. Actually, we need to rename this one. So we go into the title, and this is going to be the estimated total deaths. And then for recoveries, we need the same. So estimated. There we go. Then we need to drag the right field, which is going to be the estimated recoveries. We're probably going to get an error. Okay, recoveries works fine. If we add the comma quickly, there we go. Additionally, based on what I said in the first video, the estimated total recoveries is not fully working correctly. It's something I'm still working on to fix. So we can ignore this number for now. But the thing is, we need to make them smaller because as you can see, they don't fit. So to make them smaller, we go into the data label and then we push it down to, let's say 22. Same case with this one, down to 22. I also need to change the colors. So I need to use some lighter colors from these ones just to show that this is the actual and these are just predictions. So for this one, I need to use a lighter red. So maybe this one over here, and then a lighter green, maybe this one over here. Right, the next thing I'm going to do now is that I'm going to copy and paste the notes we have explained in the first video, which is basically all of our assumptions and explanations of how the model works. So if you haven't watched the first video, watch the first video first because we go through all these notes. Right, the next thing we want to do now is down here, we want to add the estimated finish date. So very quickly, let me change the title. So this is going to be the estimated finish date. And to add the correct estimated finish date, we are actually going to use the second table. The table that has the summary by country. And this is the table we have created in our Python model in the previous video. So in this visual, I want to drag the estimated finish date based on estimated peak. And I want to, okay, actually I need to put it in the field. So estimated finish, so this one over here. So I drag it in the fields so we can see we have the earliest. However, we want to see the latest. And something else we want to do is, first we want to change the color actually. So data labels, we want to put this as dark green. And the second thing we have to do is to connect table A, which is this one, with table B, because we want this field to be connected with the slicer at the top. And at the moment, the slicer at the top is only for the first table and not for both the tables. To do this, we need to go in the data model over here and create a connection. As you can see, there is an existing connection, but it's column 1 with column 1, which is completely wrong. So we want to delete this one and we want to create one that connects the combined province and state with the province and state we have over here from the second table. So I click on combined province and state and I drag it on combined state. And this is actually going to create the connection you see over there. So if we hover over it, you can see the connection. This connection is actually one to many or many to one, which is a tricky connection to have. But because we are only going to use this connection to slice the country and state, it's going to work fine for our dataset. But in different cases, you need to be very careful when you do one-to-many relationships. So now just to test it, if we select New York, for example, and we click on New York, you can see that this did not change, which means that the relationship we created did not work correctly. So if we go back here to test it again, if I double click on this, many to one, and actually this cross filter direction, it should be on both, and then we click OK. And then if we, there we go, now it works fine because it was only working from table A to table B, I'm guessing. So it should work on both ways. So now this is changing and everything else is changing too. So you can see the estimated total confirmed cases and the estimated total deaths for New York. Again, the recoveries are blank, and this is because A, the US is not reporting any recoveries, and B, the estimated recovery calculation is actually not correct. Right, moving on, we need to have our trends, and very quickly I'm going to copy and paste the titles from the previous video. So here we're going to have our graph with the increase phase and decrease phase. To create this, all I did is copy this one, paste it down here, change the name. This one is actually a text box, same with the text box we have at the top. This one the same, and then to create these three bars, all you have to do is go to shapes, add the rectangle, and then change the colors of the rectangle. But just to save time, I just copy it and paste it quickly. Next, we also need a picture I have in the previous video. So to add that picture, I need to go in the images and use this picture over here. You can find a similar one online, or maybe I'm going to upload this one in my GitHub repository so you can use the same pictures. I'll put it over here. Then we want to put this one over here. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Right. So now we have to create our graph. Right, to create the graph now, we want to click in this combo graph over here and then resize it to be to take the whole page, so all the way here. Now in the share access, we want to add the combined date, so I can search combined date and add it over here. I want to use the combined date and not the hierarchy. Now in the lines, I'm going to start with the lines. I'm going to start with the confirmed daily. So I was typing confirm daily, and I want to add it into the lines. There we go. So sorry, in the lines over here. So you can see these numbers are the actual numbers, the confirmed daily. And I want to change the color very quickly to the same color as we have up here. Then I need to add the estimated confirmed cases until the estimated peak. So I search for estimated, and I need to add the estimated confirm cases until, where is it, until estimated peak. And this one is going to go in the second line. So estimated confirmed cases until estimated peak. I need to remove this one, and this one is going to be the sum. As you can see, I don't have a sum, and it's probably because when it brought the data in, it identified this one as a string. So very quickly, I'm going to go at the back end again and make everything as a number. So I click on edit query. I go and find all the estimations. So this is going to be the estimated. So this is a number, 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 this is a number. Anything that has estimated at the front, I'm going to make a number. So cumulative is a number, is a number. Combine estimated, confirm cases. Yes, yes. Number, and this is a number. So I go into transform, I click here and I click on decimal number, I click replace current, I go into home, close and apply, then I go in the front end and it didn't work. I have count, that's why now I should do sum. So now it should work. However, remember, this is the estimated confirmed cases until the estimated peak. But if New York, because we have New York right now, has actually reached their peak, then they're not going to have from current to peak. So maybe I'll check another country or state just to check. Let's check Alabama. They actually have a dot, which means that we are estimating them to peak tomorrow. Let me check Alaska maybe. There we go. So Alaska have not reached their peak yet. So this is from current to estimated peak. I also want to change the color of this one to be red. So I go data colors. I put it as red. I also want to change the shape to be a dotted line. So I go into the dotted line, but I actually want to do it only for customize. So I click on customize, I select the estimation, and then I change this one to be dotted. There we go. Moving on, the next line I want to plot is the estimated confirmed cases from current peak to estimated finish. So this is going to be this one over here, goes into lines, and I want to use the sum correct. And the last line I want to use is the estimated confirmed cases from estimated peak to estimated finish, which is this one over here. So if I drag it down here, we can see where we are estimating this to end. Moving on, I want to change these colors very quickly. So I go into data colors. I want to change this one to be, let me use the same colors actually. So this is going to be the blue I have in this other report. And this is going to be, what color is going to be the green I have in the other report. Additionally, I want to go into shades and I want to customize them. So for the green line, which is the estimated peak to estimated end, I actually want to add a shade, which is the shade you see right now. I also want to make it steps so we can see the steps. And I also want to make this as a dotted line, maybe, or maybe a dash line. Let's see, dash. No, I think dotted is fine. Then I want to do the same for the blue one. So if I go back on the blue one, I select the blue one. I want to make it a step. There we go, step. And I want to make it as a dotted line. Maybe dash. Dash is better. And I'm also going to make the other one dash just to be consistent. Right, now we need to add the bars, which is going to be the date. So I start with the starting date. So if I set starting date, I want to drag this into the column values. So this is the starting date. And if you remember, the way we calculated the starting date, it was when the confirmed cases were passing 20. That's where we say this is the starting date. Next, we need the peak date. So if I search for peak date, which is going to be this one over here. Then we need the estimated date for peak. Actually, the reason we see this is because we cannot sum them. So again, we need to go back in the back end and change the string to be an actual decimal number. But I'm just going to add them quickly and then go and change everything. The next one we need to add is the estimated finish based on current peak. So it's going to be this one over here. And the last one is going to be the estimated finish date based on estimated peak, which is going to be this one down here. Right, now we need to go in the backend and change this from strings into numeric. So we go back here, we go into edit query. Now we need to find them. So the first one, so it's actually these last 5 ones. So if I select the last 5 ones, which is all these ones, and I go into transform and I make them as decimal numbers, I click replace. Now I go into home, close and apply. And now I go back at the front end. There we go. We have all of our dates. Now, the next thing I want to do is to click over here, click on Format Painter and touch the graph. So you can see we added the border, the radius, and the title. The title now, I'm just going to change it quickly. So I'm going to copy it and paste this one. It's going to be the confirmed cases by date and forecast. I also want to make this a bit larger, let's say. Then I want to go into the legend and I want to move it in the bottom center. Also, it's best if we change the naming so they are smaller and they all fit, but I'm not going to do it just to save time. Now, what I want to do is to experiment with other states, just to go back to New York and let's see if this works fine. New York. So if we scroll down, we can see that it works fine, but something I don't like is that it doesn't start from 0. So to change this, we need to click over here, go to Y-axis, go into the secondary, the show secondary, and then we need to make the start point of this one to 0. So you can see it starts from 0. Additionally, I also want to flip them over, so we have the confirmed cases on the left and 0 to 1, which is the bars on the right. To do this, we need to go into the position and change it to left. So now we can see we have the confirmed cases over here. We can also add the titles. So if we click on add title over here, then we should be able to change the access title. So here I can add confirmed cases. Confirmed cases, and it's both the actuals and the estimations, and I can also add the title over here too. Right, the next step I want to do now is to add the data labels. Actually, I need to change the coloring of the bars first and then add the data labels. So I click on my graph, I go into my data colors, and the first one I want to change is this one into some light gray. So this is the starting date. Then I need the estimated peak to be red. So the estimated peak date is this one. So I need this to be this light red. I think it's fine. I need the current peak, which is this one, to be the same with this color, the actual number. So maybe this one over here. I also want to change the estimated finish date based on current peak, which is the blue line, to something light blue. So this is going to be this one over here. I need a light blue, maybe this one over here, or maybe it's too light, maybe something else. Let's see. Maybe this one over here, and then I want to change this bar over here to correspond to this green bar over here. So the color now is going to be something greeny, so maybe this one over here. Right, so now I need to add the data labels. So if I go down to data labels, I click on, and I also want to customize them because this is too much. So I'll click on customize ones, and the first thing I want to do is that I want to drop the label density down to a lot less, so we can actually see a lot less. So I'm doing the starting date now, which I actually don't want to see this one, so I remove it. This one I don't want to see, this one I don't want to see. So any dates I don't actually want to see the one at the top of the bar, so I can remove all the ones. Then for the confirmed daily, I want to drop the label density down to, let's see, maybe, yeah, 25. I also want to make the text size a lot smaller so everything fits. I want to take it down to 10 or maybe 11. I also, do I need the show background? Maybe no, it's too much. Then for the, let's see, for the estimated confirmed cases, which is this one. So first I want to change the color for this one. So let's test it now. Let's try with the green one first. Is this the green? No, this is actually the blue. So I click on the blue. I want to reduce the label density to a lot less so we can actually see stuff. There we go, we can see the numbers. I also need to make the text size into 11, so same as this one. Now I need to do the same for this field, which is the green one. I want to change the color to be the green color. I want to make this 11, and I want to reduce the density down to, I don't know, 27. So now you can see it's much clearer now. We can actually read the numbers. Right, the next thing we need to do now is to add the dates down here. The dates is going to be all the bars we have. So very quickly, I'm going to copy this one and paste it down here below. So this is going to be our first date, and we need to make it smaller so all the dates can fit. The first date is going to be the start date, which is going to be this one over here. And to find it, we need to use the second table now, not the first table. So I need to remove it from here, and I need to go in and search for starting. And I need to use the starting date from this second table. So this one over here. And I want to use, I want to drag it in. I want to use the latest date. So the starting date is the 4th of March, which is this date over here, as you can see. We also want to make the data label a lot smaller. So let me see how much I have it in the other report. So that's going to be 15. So I replace this one with 15. And I also want to change the color to the same color as this one, which is going to be this light gray over here. So we know now the starting date is the 4th of March. Now I want to change the dimension. So I go into the general and I need to change the width into 290 and the height into 82. So now I can copy this and paste it 4 more times to cover the other date. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is going to be this one over here. I can actually make this one bigger. There we go. So the second date now is the actual peak, so the current peak. So I need to search for a peak and I need to select it from my second table. So this is going to be this value over here. So I remove this one, I select the peak from the second table and I select the latest again. As you can see is the 15th of April, which is this date over here, the current peak, the 15th of April. And I also want to change the color now to correspond to this bar over here. So I go into data labels and I select this color over here. I also need to change the title. So very quickly, this title is going to be the current peak. This title is going to be the starting date. So this is going to be starting date where confirm is less or more than 20. Where is it? Confirm more than 20. This one over here is going to be the estimated peak. So we need to search for estimated peak from the second table. So this is going to be this value over here. So if I go back, I remove it from here. And then I select the estimated peak date. And then I also need to select the latest. And I also need to change the title. So this is going to be the estimated peak. And I also need to change the colors now. And the estimated peak is actually red. So if I select a reddish color, maybe this one. So this number corresponds to this data bar over here. Then we need the estimated finish date based on current peak. And very quickly, I'm just going to copy the title from the other report and paste it over here. So if I go into title, I replace the title. Now I need the estimated finish based on current peak and the date, and that date is going to be this one over here, the estimated finish date based on current peak. So I go here, I remove this one, and then I drag this date over here, and I also need to select the latest date. And this 6th of June, it should be from current peak, which is the blue, which is this one over here, but we have 7th of June. There must be a mistake. Maybe we got the colors wrong over here. Let's click. So the blue one, the light blue is the count of, let's see, let me make this a bit bigger. Estimated finish date based on estimated peak. However, this is the blue one, and count of estimated finish date based on estimated peak. Okay, this one should be the green one, so I've done this wrong. And then this one should be the blue one. There we go. So the blue one now finishes correctly and the green one finishes correctly. Okay, I got this wrong before. Apologize. So now we need to change this color to be the blue color. So if we go into the data, in the data label, and we change the color to the blue color. So now we know. And then the last one we need to do is the estimated finish based on estimated peak. So first of all, we need to find the date. So it's the estimated finish based in estimated peak, which is this one over here. So if we remove this value and we drag this value, we do the latest. So we can see now is the 7th of June, which is this one over here. And now we need to change the color to something greeny, which is going to be this green over here. And we also need to change the title, and I'm just going to copy the title and paste it quickly from the other report. So I go into the title and then I paste the title. So now we have the estimated finish based on estimated peak. Additionally, I do want to distribute them equally, so I can select all of them and then go into format, and then I want to align them at the top, and then I also want to align them distribute horizontally so they are equally spaced with each other. Right, so now let's go on and check a different country just to see if everything works. Let's select Italy. So we search for Italy, we grab Italy, and then we can see that it works just fine. All the dates are fine, all the visuals are fine, and all the predictions are okay. Right, the next visuals we're going to do now is going to be the cumulative numbers. So I select this graph over here, and then I resize it somewhere over here. And then we're going to have the confirmed cases, the recoveries, and then the deaths. So the first thing I want to put into here is that into the axis, I want to select the combined date. And this is going to be coming from the first table again. So combined date, I drag it into here. And I also want to change this into the combined date and not the hierarchy. Now in the values now, the first value we need to add is the actuals. So confirmed cases, and this is going to be not the daily, the cumulative ones. So if we add the cumulative ones, we can see the cumulative ones. And now we need to add the estimated cumulative confirmed cases. So we need to search for cumulative, so cumulative, and this is going to be the cumulative confirmed estimated peak to estimated end. So if we add this next to it, you can see that it continues exactly from where it left it. And this is something we have calculated in the Python model in the code in the previous video. Now we want to change the coloring. So actually I need to touch over here, go into Format Painter, and then touch this. So we get the same borders and the same titles. I want to change the title now to be the cumulative estimated confirmed cases. So I go into title and then I paste the title. So cumulative confirmed cases. Then I want to move the legend into the bottom center. And then I want to change the colors now. So the actuals is going to be the same as the actuals, and then the estimations is going to be a lighter color, so we have the estimations. Now I want to add the data labels, so I get an error there saying, what's the error saying? Data conversion, large visual. Okay, it's basically saying this is too small to show the data, so maybe I can enable the overflow and we can actually see some. I can change the orientation from horizontal to vertical, and I can change the color into black, and I think that's okay. Right, so now I can copy this and paste it twice, so we can have the recoveries and we can also have the deaths, but you can see this is too big, so maybe we have to make it smaller. So let me check the sizes I have over here and follow the same sizes. So this one is 491 and 240. So 491, 240. We click on the visual, we go here, we go in the general, here 491 and then 240. There we go. So I can copy this now, paste it once. This is going to be the recoveries, paste it another time, and this is going to be the deaths. So I can make this a bit smaller. There we go. Right, for the recoveries now, I click over here and I want to switch the cumulative estimated confirmed cases to be the estimated recoveries cumulative from estimated peak to estimated end. And then I also want to remove the confirm and select just the recoveries. So I search for recoveries and I want to select recover, which is the cumulative numbers, and I drag it on top. There we go. Now I need to change the title and the color. So I go into the title and this is going to be the cumulative recoveries. So recoveries. And I also need to change the coloring. So I go into data colors and I select a light green over here for our estimated cumulative recoveries. Now I need to change this one, which is the estimated cumulative deaths. So the first thing I need to change is go back here, switch the cumulative confirmed estimated cases to be the cumulative, where is it? Estimated deaths, cumulative from estimated peak to estimated end. So it's going to be this one over here. And then I also need to change the confirm to the deaths. So I search for deaths and I select deaths because this is the cumulative one, and I drag it on top. There we go. I also need to change the colors now. So I go into the data colors and I select something red. So I'm going to select this, this red over here, and then this light red for the estimations over here. Additionally, I need to change the title as the last thing. So I go into title, and this is going to be the cumulative deaths. Right, so now let's scroll back at the top and select a different country, and let's see if everything works fine. Let's do United Kingdom, select this one. We can see the slicers are working. This graph is working fine. We can see that the estimated peak with the actual peak was bang on point. Hence, we have the same estimations for things to go down to 0. We can see we don't have any recoveries, and because we don't have any estimated recoveries, and this is because the UK is not reporting any recoveries at this time. Right, so there is one more thing to do, which is a table I have. So if I bring the other report, the one that is published and the one we've shown in the previous videos, we also have a state and province breakdown table over here, where if you select multiple countries, let's say I want to select all the US. So I go over here and I type in US and I select all of the states. And then I come down here, I can see all the states and then all the data for all the states of the US. However, just because this tutorial is extremely long as it is, and I feel that I'm rushing this tutorial, I'm gonna stop this tutorial here and leave it up until these graphs we have just created. Right, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you've gained enough value out of this tutorial. And if you feel like you did, please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications for my future videos. I want to apologize in case I rushed it too much and I didn't explain things as I should, but I don't know, just let me know what you think. Should I do longer videos or shorter videos and just break this up into 2 or 3 different videos? Please let me know in the comments below. Additionally, if you have any questions, again, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video and for all your support, and I'm going to see you in the next video.